Davis holding it. Davis across midcourt, just across midcourt at the circle. 10 seconds. 27 on the game clock. Davis driving. Davis cut off. Davis to Sibley with 4. Sibley, free throw line jumper. Off the front iron. No. Rebound. Run out. Taylor to the basket. The lay.
Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win.
Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base hit. Just as it scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is gonna be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is done by big World Series. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Racker throws. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them with my faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires, ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins. Here's the pitch to Willie.
There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take
I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. It's hit goodbye. Home run.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are gonna win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of the program. I am Dan Scott. Very happy to have you with us. Strange things afoot in the studio this morning. We have computers starting and stopping of their own volition without any human touch, and they're not wired to any remote controls. I don't know what's going on, but programs just inexplicably either starting on their own or stopping on their own. But you know what? We are unfazed, unbent, unbowed, and unbroken. We intend to get you what we have planned for you over the course of the next hour and look forward to doing it as always. Beautiful day if you like bright sunshine and blue skies. Maybe not so much if you like very, very cold, sub-freezing temperatures. But as I got here this morning and still looking down on the football stadium playing surface here at Paladin Stadium, the lacrosse team is out there, and they are going at it and have been for quite a while this morning. So the cold weather not affecting them. We won't let it affect us either. Of course, I'm inside, and it's nice and toasty where we are. But that little bit of truth can just kind of go by the boards. Coming up on the show today, we'll recap last night's Furman basketball win over the Citadel, 107-67, a 40-point beatdown of the Bulldogs. And you'll hear from head coach Bob Ritchie. You'll see some highlights of the game as well. And then in studio is women's coach Jackie Carson. They opened play in conference against Samford at home yesterday as part of a men's-women's doubleheader. Got the win, and their season is off to a good start as well. So Jackie's going to be in studio with us about 10:25 to talk about last night and about the season to this point. As always, our show is brought to you by our good friends at the Atlanta Bread Company, located in Cherrydale Plaza, right down the road from campus here. Had breakfast there again this morning, and you know, it sounds like a broken record, but it's true. The food is fantastic. The people are even better. And again, when you're talking about weather like we have now, cold weather, don't you want someplace you can go, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, that's going to warm your soul? You've got the hot sandwiches, the hot paninis, hot soups and chili, hot coffee and other beverages like I've got here, which I'm showing to the camera, and you can't see it because of the Atlanta Bread graphic. But the bottom line is that whatever you need, whether it's this time of year or any other, they've got it for you. And don't forget all of the baked goodies. Oh, my goodness. Atlanta Bread Company. Stop by, see them, tell Jeff and Amber what a fantastic job they do, and thank them for what they're doing with us here on the Dan Scott Show. We're going to take a break, and reason doing, we've got an extended men's preview to get through when we come back, which will include highlights of last night's game and Bob Ritchie's post-game press conference. And then, as I said, Jackie Carson joins us at 10:25. So don't go away. Dan Scott Show returns right after this message.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingles, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingles, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT unpimiented cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All right, welcome back to the show. I am Dan Scott. Very happy to have you with us on this Friday edition of the program. We are in the process of working on some changes that I think are going to be very, very significant. And I'll be telling you about those coming up. We're waiting to get one or two little things approved from the higher-ups, but everybody seems to be on board with what we want to do, which is going to take what we're doing on a daily basis in a little bit of a different direction, but it's also going to open up another door for us to do something a little bit different in another time slot. We'll kind of tell you all about that when we get everything worked out, but it's just kind of our continuing effort to maximize what we do here and take advantage of being a format that gives our Furman fans something they do not get anywhere else, and at the same time, not disassociating those non-Furman fans out there. How do we do that more effectively? Stay tuned. Right now, let's talk about Furman's win over the Citadel last night by the final score of 107-67. It was a phenomenal performance. Got off to a little bit of a slow start because of the hectic pressing style that the Citadel plays. They really try to take you out of rhythm, get you out of the game, speed you up, and make you play at an uncomfortable pace. And for the first 5 or 6 minutes, they were able to do that. But, man, when things settled down, the Paladins took off, and they took off again in a big way. Here are some highlights from last night's game, courtesy of our ESPN3 broadcast. Check it out. Well, and naturally, when I was putting it together and rehearsing, it worked just fine. And now the video and the highlights apparently are going to give us some fits. Let's reset it and try it. Let me see here. You guys get to see a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes stuff. Let's do that. Let's do this. And let's see if that'll open it up to play. There we go. Check it out. Well, it's hard to really follow what's going on without the audio, and I apologize for that. We will work on that in the future. All of this is still somewhat new technology for me. It's not new for everybody else. What you're seeing there is Jordan Lloyd doing what he's done, especially the last couple of games, coming off the bench and really lighting it up from the outside. And then things got going defensively for the Paladins. Jeff Bean stroking a three. That was a big first half for Jeff. Good to see. It looks like his shot is starting to come around. And then Daniel Fowler with the jam off of the feed from Sibley, and Andrew Brown closed out the first half with that deep three, and Furman, which trailed by 8 at one point in the first half, ended up leading by 23, and then it got even worse for the Bulldogs in the second half. Devin Sibley scored 10 very quick points in the second half, and it was inside, it was outside, it was Rafferty, it was Sibley slashing and jamming. As you see there, Rafferty backing his way in with the left hand. And again, good ball movement against the zone, found hole after hole, and Rafferty was able to score. Jonathan Jean with the drive to the basket. And here's Jordan Lloyd just stroking it. Man, his shot has been on in a major league way the last couple of games. Had 17 off the bench at VMI, 20 off the bench last night. And you got to love Matt Rafferty, his ability to find open teammates. Daniel Fowler with the three. He was honored prior to the game because of his 1,000-point career performance. And the beat just rolled on and on and on. Again, Jordan Lloyd, and again, Jordan Lyons. I said Lloyd. Jordan Lyons from downtown. Jalen Williams with the block. It was that kind of night all around. Here is the shot that got him over 100. Hunter with the three. And then Hunter in transition with the reverse layup with the left hand. And then how about Brady Shuck? Walk on, getting some playing time and being aggressive. Bob Ritchie looked at me after the game last night. He said, he's going to get his shots up, isn't he? And the answer to that question was yes. Yes, he is. Speaking of Coach Ritchie, here's what his post-game press conference sounded like. See if we can get it without any ads. Nope, we're going to get a George Sink ad.
I served all my life. I was a school teacher. I served our country as a Marine. And now George Sink Injury Lawyers serves you. Need help? It's easy. Call all nines. We look forward to serving you. Good after 40-point win. That's what we do it for, huh?
It does, because ball movement is hard to guard. And when you can move the ball and you can move bodies, you know, it's so much easier to guard a ball that is sticking or that's in one player's hands. But when you have to move the ball movement creates confusion. Confusion breaks down communication. Now you can get the things that you need to get offensively. And our guys just buy into that. I mean, they absolutely buy in for the most part. I think we turned it over a little bit more than we would like tonight. We tried early. We weren't playing as simple as we needed to. But once we were simple, played on 2 feet, drew 2 and kicked it, it was hard for them to guard us and, press or zone. I thought we did a pretty good job when we were simple of just making sure that the ball didn't stick.
They play such an odd way, unusual way, I guess I should say. Frenetic. They force a lot of turnovers. They usually score a lot of points. They got the turnovers tonight. Turnovers about even, but you outscored 26-5, I think, points off turnovers, something like that. What was the key to not allowing them to produce out there?
Well, I think I don't have the stat in front of me. I think that they had 18, we had 17. My guess would be that we forced more live ball turnovers, and I think that we had a few more dead ball turnovers, which you get to go against a set defense. We got a bunch of live ball turnovers tonight, and when you do that, and we can get out and run, and we can run the space, we've just got some playmakers that are able to finish, and we got some shooters that are able to space the floor pretty quickly. And I thought that was a big key to the game. Shot 43s. Best part about that is we made 17 of them. But I think with that, what you can't lose sight of is the fact, I'm sure that's a season high attempts for us, but we also had 44 points in the paint. And I think that, it's a lot of, there were 71 attempts in the game tonight. And we did shoot a lot of threes, but I also thought we shot a lot of layups. And I thought that was key, that we didn't just settle for threes, but we got penetration. We got the ball to Matt, and we were able to see some pretty good cutting, even versus the zone, and also some good 3 attempts.
Jordan's production lately off the bench has been good. What does it mean going forward in the conference if he can keep giving you some production?
Jordan Lyons is a really, really good basketball player, and we knew that when we recruited him. Was a heavily recruited prospect. He carries a big-time swagger about him, and he thinks he's going to make every shot. And he's – the hardest thing for Jordan is we didn't lose a perimeter player last year. We added one in Alex Hunter. And there was no – minutes this year on the perimeter were actually a little bit harder to come by. And so a lot of times when you have a freshman year like he did, you expect the role just to change by osmosis. But when you have more that are competing, all of a sudden, it just gets real competitive. And, what we really had to convince Jordan through that was focus on your defense, focus on your energy, focus on your assignment, focus less about the shots. And I tell you, his defensive intensity tonight was the best it's been all year. And I heard him out there. He was communicating. He was moving around. And then, ironically enough, he goes 50% from the 3 and makes 5 threes, hits all 5 free throws, and has 20 points. But he has 2 steals, has 1 assist, and doesn't turn it over. And that's what I'm proud of Jordan about, is he's bought into playing the game the right way. And usually when you play the game the right way, it rewards you.
Two additions to what you just said. You started out 0 for 7 on 3. This team has just reached the veteran level where it doesn't really matter what they start. They're going to keep shooting because they know they can shoot.
Yeah, we've got good shooters. I think Saturday we had 8 guys make a 3. Tonight it looks like we only had 5 guys make a 3, but that's our identity. We've got good shooters, and we know that, and we talk about it. We shoot a lot. We work on shooting a lot. And, we all know that in the flow of the game, you're not going to make them all. That's why 40% is a good number. And that's what we tell them all the time, that, you can miss more than you make and still be shooting a great percentage. But you've got to focus on your approach. Are they the shots we want in our offense? Are they coming on 2 feet? Do we have room, rhythm, and range? And are we getting the right ones? And I thought early it was a little rushed. It was a little early. We took some that I thought that were going to be there the whole possession. And then as we got in the flow and we started driving the ball more, I thought we were able to step into some, and that's when you start seeing them fall.
The other thing about defensive intensity off the bench, Jeff Beans has turned into a pretty good defensive player all of a sudden after kind of being a little bit of a liability, I think, in the past maybe defensively.
So proud of him. Just so proud of that guy. The amount of questions I've gotten asked about what's wrong with him, there's nothing wrong with Jeff Beans. Jeff Beans is a Furman Paladin to the core. And, he had to deal with the injury. His conditioning was off in the preseason. He got through a little bit of a shooting slump. And, again, similar to Jordan, he's bought into trying to redirect his thoughts and focus to something else and just letting the shooting take care of itself. And I thought his energy changed the game. I thought when he came in there, I heard him. He was communicating. He was flying around. And I thought that really gave us a little bit of spark. And that's who Jeff Beans is. I mean, it doesn't matter what's going on with him. His energy is always up. He's a phenomenal teammate. And he's just as big as this senior group as the other three. He just doesn't get as much credit. But, you go back to his freshman year and, we're in that conference championship game because of Jeff Beans. And, he's had a huge piece in turning this program around. And I just love to see him coming back. And that was the whole goal with him. Can we get you ready for conference? And it's been rewarding to see that turn for him as well.
The run that you went on at the end of the first half and kept it going there in the second half, I mean, it not only meant good things tonight, but it's got to help for Saturday, right? Because you got some guys some rest.
We did. We didn't have to play anybody more than 23 minutes, which was great. Devin played 23, and Andrew and Daniel played 22. JD, so all our starters were 23 or less. And we also got the bench some quality minutes. We got 5 guys, 15 or more minutes off the bench. And, that's what good performances can do. They can help you build your depth. They can help you build your confidence. And also on the Thursday, Saturday turnaround, it can rest you a little bit. But, Saturday is going to be a great ball game. We got a really good ball club coming in here. And Coach Hoffman does a great job with them. And so, regardless of how many minutes they play tonight, we got to regroup and we got to get rested up. And, we got to be ready to come out here and play as hard as we can play on Saturday.
One last question for me. You were down 30-29 with less than 6 minutes to go in the first half. And you were up 56-33 in this final 5:55, whatever it was. Have you been around a team that can score as quickly as this team can on spurts like that?
I think a lot of that is twofold. It's when this team decides they want to really sit down and guard you, and then the power of the three ball. I mean, when you make 2 threes in a row and it goes from a tie game to 6 points, and that happens in a 40-second span, that's discouraging. And then you start adding a couple more and you start adding a couple more, but it all starts with the stops. And we're able to space the floor. We got guys that are willing to play unselfish basketball, and that the three ball can just add up. And that's the same thing on the other side. And when you're playing against a team like Citadel, that was the whole conversation at halftime. Is they erased a 27-point margin against us last year at their place and cut it to 3. No lead is safe, and it's the same thing. It's to the three ball. They start banging some threes, and all of a sudden a 20-point lead goes to 10 in a hurry. And so our ability to really guard and then willingness to move the ball and to make shots, I think that's a formula for putting some quick points and being able to make runs. Can't make runs if the other team's scoring, right? So you make all the threes you want, but if they're making shots, you can't make runs, and runs start on the defensive end of the floor.
All right, that was Bob Ritchie after some technical difficulties, and his thoughts after the 40-point win. That's right, 40 points over the Citadel. When we come back, the first part of the doubleheader was another Furman win. Jackie Carson in studio, and she'll be with us to talk about the win over Sanford. Her team's 10-5 start, and a little philosophical change that she's put herself through with this current edition of the Furman women's basketball team. All that and more straight ahead as the Dan Scott Show returns following this break.
Stuck in a state of falling behind? Struggling to keep up with your kids, finances, insurance? Then let State Farm agent Steve Borkland in Traveler's Rest help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Steve handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time for everything else. More money, too, because adding State Farm policies could mean earning discounts worth up to 40%. That's money Steve can help you put towards a college savings plan. Call State Farm agent Steve Borkland today and get to a better state with State Farm.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
It is 10:27, and we are back. Good to have you with us on a brilliant but brutally cold day here in the upstate of South Carolina. I guess we can all be thankful that we're here and not on the coast. And there aren't many times that those of us here would say something like that. Jackie Carson, the women's basketball coach, joining us. I know that most of the year you would say, hey, I'd rather be on the coast, right?
Absolutely. But I definitely will take this over the snow that I've seen in the Upper East. So, yeah, no, I'll be okay with the cold. Just no snow and hopefully no ice.
So your team got what can only be categorized as an ugly win yesterday.
Horrendously ugly, yes.
You shoot 26% from
Yeah.
the field and still find a way
Right.
to win. That's hard to do, and yet you did it in a nice win over Samford.
Yeah, I mean, that couldn't have gotten any uglier. I think what helped us get the win is we made them just as ugly. So, I mean, anytime you start out the game and then first quarter at home shoot 6%, that's usually going to be a really long evening. Like, we did that against Georgia, and that was a really long day. And so, but the great thing is we made them shoot 8% in the third quarter, which was a huge difference, and that's where we regained the lead, and we kept it for the remainder of the game. So defensively, it's very difficult to go against Samford. So I'm gonna chalk the offensive woes up to me. We did so many defensive breakdowns on that team because you have to. That we probably didn't shoot enough, so we're going to do a lot of shooting today.
Well, whatever it takes. All I know is that you're down 18-14 at half. In 20 minutes of play, you only scored 14 points, but you did come out strong offensively in the third quarter. So what changed?
Well, one of the things that we harped on in the locker room was, okay, our shots are not falling, so what else are you going to bring to the table? Are you going to be able to be a rebounder? Are you going to be a defensive stopper? And the one thing that's really different about the makeup of our team this year is when I challenge them, they really, really respond. They take it personal. And, okay, if we're not hitting shots, okay, let's go figure out what we can do on defense. And our defense was already pretty strong. Obviously, they couldn't score either. But I felt like it went up a notch. And so that kind of ignited our offense as well.
This is a team, obviously a very young basketball team that you have. And we're going to talk about a change that's led for you here in just a bit. But to say they respond to challenges when you challenge them, but you were telling me that they kind of challenge each other as well.
They do. This is one of the first teams in my 8th season. This is one of the first teams where they'll literally say, I need more from you. And each girl responds instead of, girls, we can be a little catty sometimes. We can bicker back and forth. And
now, see, I couldn't get away with
saying
saying
can't say that. Only I can say that. But
I live in a house full of women, but I couldn't say that.
Man. You are very smart. Your wife and I think your daughter, and they've taught you well.
Anyway, continue.
But we used to hang on to that and not hear the message behind it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we hear tone too much. Sometimes we hear, well, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that type of thing. But our girls are saying to each other, hey, I need more from you. And then whoever they're talking to really responds to that. So that's a huge difference. It's just the response from this team is and our growth over the course of the year. That's a big thing.
Get the head bobbing and the finger pointing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get get the message, right?
You got to see through all of that.
Well, you were able to get things rolling after you challenged them, and then although again in the second half didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but you made some big shots and more importantly hit some big free throws when it mattered the most.
Well, that's one of the things against PC that we felt like cost us the game was free throws. We couldn't, and I believe in the overtime period we missed 3 straight free throws. That obviously would have helped seal the game for us, and it cost us the game. So in practice, every single day we shoot 100 team free throws, and we put up there, and our team goal for every single game is to shoot 80%. And we really focused that we hadn't gotten 80% in a while. And this was the first game, probably the loudest cheer. We always go over our team goals in the locker room after the game. The loudest one was when I think we shot 84, 83% for the game from the free throw line. And they saw that, of course, that gives you the win against a team like Samford because they don't miss free throws. So if you want to win against Samford, you better hit your free throws, and that's exactly what they did. So, but yeah, we still didn't shoot well. Anytime you can come away from a win and you're starting point guard and starting 2 guard or shooting 2 for 27 for the game, that we're gonna just be happy with that.
I mean, there are just really no words for something like that because under most circumstances, when that happens, you just go ahead and chalk one up in the L column and move on.
Right, and I mean, like I said, Sanford is a tremendously talented team that scores the ball well. And when they were missing layups, I just started to wonder. I was like, maybe the baskets are off, So, but then I guess they fixed it between the men's game. They didn't have a problem. So, but no, they. It's just one of those you just survive and advance. It's the same mindset that you would have for a tournament game. Is just find a way to win when everything's not going right. Find the ways to win, and then just go with it.
Yeah, it was just kind of interesting to watch how everything unfolded last night, but to see your girls step up and hit the big free throws and make some big shots down the stretch. And you see this in this sport in particular. I mean, you're going to have nights where the shots simply don't fall. Maybe not to the extreme of last night, but you're going to have nights where the shots don't fall. But there are parts of the game that can always be there whether you're shooting or not, and that is hustle, rebounding, effort, all of those things. And I've seen enough of your practices to know that those are things that you do not compromise on.
Yeah, absolutely. Energy and effort, and I tell them all the time is rebounding is will and want. You got to be willing to go get in there, get dirty, get bumped around a little bit, and you got to go want the ball. You shouldn't see anyone around you. I think it's difficult for my team to live up to the rebounding because that's what I was, and I played at a whopping 150 pounds, so I was a little skinny thing, but if I didn't rebound, I wouldn't have anywhere close to the career here that I did. And so that's what I just see it all the time. And it's just rebounding, will, and want. And then our defensive pressure, we know we're one of the strongest defensive teams in this league, but we hadn't shown it for about 5 games. And we did show that we could score up until yesterday. I think we're right behind Mercer in scoring offense in the league, and our defense is still up there, even though we haven't played the defense that we wanted to do. So I'm glad that defense came back. I just don't want to compromise one for the other. So I hope our offense comes back, and then it'll be kind of exactly where we need to be.
Like Bob Ritchie talks about balance, and we don't want to be known as an offensive team, or do we want to be able to do both?
Right.
And if you can get them both rolling on the same night, that would be
That'd
good,
be great.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Jackie Carson, the women's basketball coach here at Furman. Her team's off to a 10-5 start. That was the SoCon opener last night, the win over Sanford. So 1-0 in the league. And again, with a very, very young basketball team. So I asked you before we came back from the break, I said, are you ahead of where you thought you would be? Are you behind where you thought you would be, 15 games into the season? And you had a very interesting response.
Yeah. Going into my 8th season, I've learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was not to put the undue pressure on my team and myself of where we should be and go get a championship. We're one game at a time, and we're going into game 2 of our conference against Mercer, and that's where we are today. Today, we're trying to be better than we were yesterday against Sanford. Tomorrow, we'll try to be better than we were today in practice. And we really have just gone by the mantra of just saying one day at a time, and just we're not looking forward to, we're not going to March, we're not going to next week, we're going to today. And then tomorrow we'll go to Mercer and we'll focus on Mercer. And I always tell them when we get a win, you got about an hour or 2 where you can celebrate this, and then we move on to the next day. So as long as with a team of 7 freshmen, 8 total newcomers with one transfer, we just want to be better than we were the day before. And that's helped me relax a little bit and not hang on to some bad losses or tough losses. And that's helped our team be able to also move on.
7 freshmen on your roster. Remarkably, I don't see one single gray hair.
They're hiding. I hide them under all the black ones. They're there.
How difficult was it for you to make something of a philosophical change? Because we all get kind of set in our ways, and we have our way of doing things, and coaches by and large are successful because they develop a way of doing things.
Right. I'm always one that wants to evolve and grow, and I got to realize that sometimes when we ask our girls to improve, we have to also look in the mirror and improve ourselves. And so I did a lot of that the last 2 years, especially as a person and as a coach, and how can I make the program stronger? How can I be better for my staff? How can I be better for my programs, for my players? How can I be a better wife? It's just things that you got to be evolving on as a mother. Those type of things.
You want us to get Rob on and let him answer that question?
Oh, my gosh, he has more gray. I was thinking that. He has a lot of gray, so that might mean I'm stressing him out. But I had to look back and say, we've had some talented kids here, and we just haven't found a way to get it done. And, and we've had outstanding support. And and it wasn't because of the talent. So we had to address another issue. We just had to say, hey, where's the belief completely, and where's the buy-in that we're going to do this for each other? And that's probably what the biggest difference is in this team and past teams. Not to say the past teams didn't do it, but there's such a strong belief in one another this year. They go to bat for one another this year. They, it's hard. We lost a lot of players from last year's roster this year, but sometimes that's exactly what's needed, and people don't understand that until you kind of see the result of it this year. So that's the biggest thing. It's just, we had a bad practice before Sanford, and they came back and they practiced on their own without the coaching staff. And Deanisha Jackson texted me that night. She said, Coach, we're going to win. Don't worry about it. I know we didn't practice well, but I have a feeling. And I text back and I said, well, I'm glad you have a better feeling than me, because we didn't. She said, I get it. We didn't have a good practice, but I got your back. We're going to win. And then she texted me last night. I told you we were going to win. So it's stuff like that that's a little bit different than the years before.
So with 7 freshmen on the team, 8 newcomers, you mentioned the transfer, where's the leadership coming from?
One of the things, we don't have captains, so.
Is that by design?
It is. It's one of those things that you learn from. Sometimes, especially with our girls, if you were named captain, it's this unnecessary pressure that they think they have to be perfect. I tell them every day I'm in a leadership role but I'm not perfect. I'm not even close to perfect. But, our girls in the past always felt like the captains couldn't make a mistake. Nobody could say anything to the captains. The captains were the only one that could talk. Well, we can't have that with so many young kids, So I think one of the things is our leadership has been tremendous, from Deanisha Jackson, Sierra Carter, and Stephanie Ramos, our 3 seniors. But our freshmen called 2 weeks ago. We weren't playing up to par. Our freshmen called a team meeting, and they were able to speak. And so it's that type of freedom that I think has made our team special this year. And we wanted to not have captains, like you said, by design, so that everyone feels like they can talk and say what they need to say and say what they're seeing. Because we have, like Tiara Hodges is a sophomore and she's hurt. So she has a whole different view of how this is all working. So she speaks up a lot. Leger speaks up a lot. So it's just a thing where it gives everyone a voice.
That's, it's wonderful, obviously. Yeah. Wonderful that it's working. It's also can be a little dangerous if the circumstances aren't right.
That's right. It could. It definitely could, because – and that's sometimes, and we've dealt with that this season, where we're saying the wrong things or the things that could damage us. But I think that's, again, something we've learned from in our past, because we have had those situations, and our leadership kind of just shut those things down. And our freshmen learn, okay, these are the things that need to be said. These are the things that don't need to be said. And, I've also talked to my coaching staff. I said, we got to be more positive. There's going to be times where I'm correcting so many things. I need my assistants to build everyone back up, and I need you guys to build each other up. So as long as we're saying a lot of positive things and everyone knows the intent of what's supposed to be said, I think that's a big difference.
How it seems like every year, almost everywhere, there are always coaching staff changes. Somebody moves on. So every team has to develop chemistry. When you've got 7 freshmen, obviously there's a lot of chemistry developing that has to go on. But a coaching staff has to develop chemistry as well. How has that gone?
It's gone great. Honestly, this is nothing against the coaches I've had in the past or director of ops I've had in the past, but I was thinking that while I was getting dressed this morning, because I try to reflect on each day. This is the most comfortable I felt, because I'm really just blessed to have a really outstanding staff that I feel like has my back every single way. Now, they challenge me every day. Me and Pierre Curtis probably argue more about play calls and defensive schemes and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, he has my back. And Karonica Randall, associate head coach, she's done an outstanding job of growing and knowing what we want coming from Marshall. And then Krista Beachy is just an outstanding mind. All 3 of them have an equal share of the scouts. So it helps develop them. The girls believe in them. Brittany Washington is our director of ops. She's local. She went to Hillcrest, and I've known her ever since she's been in high school. And it's one of those things where, as a staff, you have to be aware that everybody has your back, and they know I have their back. And that's the most comfortable feel I've had in a long time. And it's nice to go into another season with the same coaching staff that you had the year before, because again, I've been blessed to have good people around me, and we lost 1 to BCS. We lost 2 to head coaching jobs. So that's a great thing. But we also want to keep some cohesiveness within our program.
And also at this level, by and large, you're dealing with younger assistants, which means they have to learn to develop a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because like at home, if mama ain't happy,
right,
nobody's happy, right?
Nobody's happy. That's the thing. My staff, I think this is the year when you go through your first year learning how a coach is, and they know I have certain little things I can care less about how it's done. There's certain things I just want a certain way. So it usually takes a year to learn that. And so Krista Beachy and Karonica Randall, they have done a good job of learning that and kind of getting a feel. When I give them an area, I'm like, hey, this is how I want it done. And, and coach, you want this? And I'm like, I don't care. Just get it done, And that's where I think they've gotten more comfortable. And like I said, Brittany Washington has always been like helping with camp, and she's amazing. She's the one that does the most work behind the scenes that no one ever sees. So,
but then the trust factor works both ways.
Oh, absolutely.
You have obviously developed and understand that you can trust these people. If
Right.
you will tell someone, I don't care.
How I get it done.
Just get it done, right?
Just get it done. I totally, and you're exactly right. The trust that I have in them, that they're saying the right things at all times, they're doing the right things at all times. That's huge for trust and loyalty. Those are two things, especially when you're dealing with staff members, that nothing can top. So I trust them with all my heart. They know I have their back. That they have my back, and it's just been a very comfortable feel. And the girls also now, and the girls are in our office. I just left half of them in my office right now. All the time, just hanging out with the staff. It's just really, truly the most family feel that I've had in 8 years.
And this is, as we all know, this is a different generation of young athletes.
Yeah.
In many ways, some good, and
Right.
and for those of us who are older, some not so good.
Right.
But they're also very aware of things like,
Yeah.
are my coaches getting along?
They are very,
and
yes.
are they telling us one thing and
Yeah.
doing something else? So I mean, you've got 15 sets of eyes
Yeah,
on you
that's
at all time, don't you?
That's exactly right. I mean, kids, they're very perceptive, and they know exactly what's going on. They can tell if there's tension. They can tell anything, and you got to practice what you preach. I remember we have distinct principles. So if you see anything on our social media, it's be distinct, and that's discipline and intensity and selflessness and trust or transparency, integrity, no excuses, commitment, and then the other T, trust or transparency. But Sierra Carter comes up, she's like, Coach, you're a lot more honest this year. You're a lot more vocal. I so like that. And so we're very vocal about what our expectations of our girls, and they're allowed to be very vocal.
I've been to some of your practices. Yeah. You're more vocal this year?
I am more transparent.
Okay.
I used to group everything like, I need you to rebound, but I didn't say who, because I felt like our girls would take it too personal. Now daily, Sierra Carter, you need to rebound. So it's not a secret who I'm talking about anymore.
Yeah, well, you know what though? I think just like with our children at home, they need to be challenged.
Exactly.
And they need to be challenged collectively sometimes, and
Right.
sometimes they need to be challenged individually.
Right, and that's exactly right. I again, one of the things I had to change is, we're not doing this. Someone didn't touch the line, blah, blah, blah. Such and such, you did not touch the line. So now the girls say, hey, you got to touch that line. They know they're looking for it. One game I say, I didn't do what I need to do, and I apologize, and I'll get better. And so there's got to be faults, saying it on both sides. Our girls were like, Coach, we need this. Okay, I got you. We can do that, and so it's that transparency. It's that trust that we have with our group this year. And like I said, it's with the assistant coaches as well. They'll tell us something. If we keep them accountable for that, like I'll go on recruiting trips and they're like, you didn't text us 4 times to tell us you were leaving. So it's the rule that I have being a mama coach, where when they go out of town, they got to text me when they leave, when they get there, when they leave, when they get there, and when they get back.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll tell me all the time, same thing. You didn't text us. You have a 5 and 5 or something like that. So.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. The bad side is setting a standard.
Absolutely.
And they turn around and hold you to the same thing, right?
Same standard. I got to make sure to text.
This is Jackie Carson, the women's head coach, as we continue on the show here. Before we let you go, just kind of looking ahead, Mercer coming in. They have been one of the better teams
right.
In the league. Just talk about talk about that challenge and then maybe handicap the rest of the league for us.
Yeah, well, Mercer is they're the dragon right now, and so we hope that we can slay the dragon. They're an outstanding team, kind of the opposite of us. They have 5 seniors that have kind of laid the foundation and the groundwork for that program. They've won the regular season the last 2 years, and Susie does a great job of building that team and demanding excellence out of them, and their players demand excellence, and you can tell that. They beat North Carolina last week. They're tremendous scorers. They have the preseason, and last year's, I think, the 2-time Player of the Year, and Kalia Lawrence. And I've heard it at least 3 times in the last week. The best player on Mercer's basketball program is the one on the women's team, and she has the best pure jump shot of probably anyone in men's or women's basketball in our Southern Conference. So she's that talented, and this year they've done a really great job of having a whole lot of other scorers around her. So we got to find a way to just be ready for the challenge. I would love to keep our home record this season. We haven't lost a game at home. And so that would be a great thing for us to continue on and be able to slay the dragon. But the rest of the league is just there's no easy games in our league this year. A lot of teams are facing some adversity with injuries, so we're not the only one. We can't make an excuse for that. But Chattanooga's still Chattanooga. They beat 5 Power 5s in the non-conference schedule. Our league did outstanding in the non-conference play and really challenged our scheduling this year. ETSU has, I think, 2 young ladies that are top 10, top 20 in steals in the country. And so they're always a challenge. Western Carolina has really found their identity, I think. They're playing hard. They're going to give a challenge. Goodness, Sanford, you see Sanford, they're just always Sanford. They're the hardest team, I believe, in our league to prepare against. Goodness, Wofford, I know they had the injury to their best player, their top scorer, Chloe Wainick, but they're still Wofford. Again, Jimmy does a great job. And who am I missing?
In other words, there's just no easy
There's
outs.
There's nothing. There's not a game you can look and, we can breathe because we can get this one. UNC Greensboro, they've always given us fits in the past. I don't think a lot of people realize my niece plays for UNC Greensboro, so it's always a little family rivalry. And she's one of their top players. I mean, I can go on and on. I think I missed one team in there, but it's just our league is very, very difficult, and so we got to be ready to play every game.
Easiest out is the Citadel because they don't have a women's
exactly,
program,
and BMI.
right?
So we love Citadel and BMI. We don't have to play them at all. I don't miss that travel. I don't want to go to BMI.
Yeah, there's no easy way to get to Lexington.
No,
It's just
and I'm from Virginia, so no.
5.5 hours, no matter how you try to get there.
Yeah.
Well, listen, congratulations on gutting out a very tough win, 7-0 at home,
Yep.
and 2 o'clock on Saturday
2 o'clock.
against Mercer here at Timmons Arena, part of the men's-women's doubleheader. It'll be on ESPN3, but we encourage everybody to come out here. Students will be moving back, so hopefully we're going to have more of a student presence this weekend.
Yeah, I miss we get a great presence from the other student athletes. I miss my football players, so I hope they come back a little bit early. Somehow this year with scheduling, both times that we play Mercer, it's a Furman-Mercer doubleheader. So when we go to Macon, it's the same thing, and they draw extremely well. So we need our fans to come out and give that same thing back to them.
All right, 2 o'clock Saturday. That's tomorrow here at Timmons Arena. Jackie, thank you very much. Looking
Thanks,
forward
Dan.
to doing this again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Got some other news and notes to get to, including the rarity of the Furman football team announcing 3 transfers coming in.
Yes.
So we'll do that and continue with more and wrap up the show after this. Don't go away.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT unpimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11.
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
The Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at thecafeatwilliamshardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. .52 and down the stretch we come. Final segment of the show, final segment of the week. Our thanks to Jackie Carson for joining us on the program. If you missed any of that or would like to see any of it again, it will be tweeted out a little bit later on, the whole video, so you can check it out then. We continue here on the program. Want to close it out with some news and notes of some things that I'm telling you, I don't know what is going on in here today, but the gremlins are afoot, and they're causing all kinds of issues. So, again, I apologize for the sound issues, the lack of sound issues that we had a little bit earlier, but dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Anyway, it is a rarity for Furman football to announce that they have transfers coming in. You'll see the occasional kid leave when they get here, and you've got the academic standards and everything else that goes into being a Furman athlete. Very rarely do you see transfers coming in. However, there are 3 transfers that have been officially announced and welcomed into the Furman program by head coach Clay Hendricks. This has been in the works for a while, but it was officially announced yesterday. 6'3", 260-pound defensive end Melton Brown from Georgia Southern, 6'1", 225-pound running back Cooper Harden from Navy, and 5'8", 170-pound cornerback and return man Amir Trapp from Clemson, all now officially part of the Furman football program. Now, the caveat to this, with 2 of the 3 anyway, are players that Furman heavily recruited and did not get initially, but are getting on this second opportunity now. Melton Brown was a high school teammate of Parker Stokes, who, of course, was a freshman on the Furman team this past fall. And Cooper Harden, the 225-pound running back, is a guy they recruited hard, decided to go to Navy, and now has thought better of that. He'll come back. Those 2 will each have 3 seasons of eligibility. Amir Trapp will have 2 seasons of eligibility with the Paladins. But you get more depth on the defensive line with Brown, and you get someone to most likely fill in that spot vacated by the graduating Antonio Wilcox as kind of the second half of that B-back combination, with Keelan Dirks coming back, and they think Cooper Harden might be the guy to slide in there as the backup or the number 2 guy. Remember how well Dirks and Wilcox split that role this year, and if that's going to be the case moving forward, they kind of think maybe that Harden is the guy. Amir Trapp, his father James Trapp, many of you may remember that name. A young man who has a lot of talent and can make an immediate impact on this team defensively and in the return game. Brown was a star, as we mentioned, at Jefferson County High School. Was a second-team All-Stater in Class 2A as a junior, and as we mentioned, played beside Parker Stokes as a senior. He played in 1 game last year at Georgia Southern. Harden was a first-team All-State linebacker in Tennessee, and also an outstanding running back. And mentioned Trapp, a former All-State and Shrine Bowl performer, saw action in both 2016 and 17, including playing in 10 games this past fall. So they'll join the 10 high school seniors that Furman signed on the early signing days or signing periods, first day, December 20th. And then, of course, February the 7th, they'll be looking to add about 6 more players into this class. So some immediate talent infusion for Clay Hendricks' club, and we'll see how it all plays out, of course, when that time of year rolls around again. Having said all that, that's going to wrap things up for us. We appreciate your attention today, and again, your patience through some early issues from a technology standpoint, trying to get all of that ironed out. And we'll do our best to have it fixed by the time next week rolls around. But listen, have a fantastic weekend. Hope to see you at Timmons Arena tomorrow for the men's-women's doubleheader with Mercer. 2 o'clock for the women's game and 4:30 for the men's game. Tom Van Hoy and Bryant Lambert will have the call for the women's matchup. Bryant will join me on the call for the men's matchup, a game that will be simulcast on ESPN3 and on Fox Sports 1440. And then Monday night, the Bob Ritchie Show resumes after the holiday break at Shortfields in downtown Travelers Rest at 6:30 p.m. Have a great weekend, everybody. Until Monday, I'm Dan Scott, and we will see you later. God bless you all.